that lets you know that he didn't look good and he wasn't to be behold. He was despised. Are you despising someone because they're poor? Or because they don't look too well? Their looks, they don't have the beauty that you think they should have? Or are you looking at a person that's beautiful and gorgeous, a supermodel, and you lift that one up, man? The Father will put you, listen, the Father will knock you out. You lifting up a wicked one, all because of their looks. Be like the Father. Look at their hearts. Look at people's heart, not the outer appearance. The outer appearance doesn't matter when it comes to the things of the Father. He was despised, and we did not esteem him. Why we didn't esteem him? Why? It wasn't in us. You're not going to esteem something and it's not in you to esteem it. It will never happen. Revelations 1:14 and 15.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
So we know this. His hair, white like wool.
As white as snow.
White as snow.
And his eyes were a flame of fire.
His eyes was a flame of fire. Now we hear this verse over and over. His hair, white like wool. Then they said he had woolly hair. All right. Okay. We know about the...
So he had white hair even though they say he died in his 30s. So he didn't really get old.
Well, remember, this is a vision that he's seen. And Revelation, we can't trust. Let me just put on record. Book of Revelations, we can't trust 100%. We cannot trust 100%. But we can use some of these Greek words. Watch this white. This Greek word, I don't go into Greek. My son said, you pulling out Greek? I have a point to show. This Greek 30:22. This Greek word means, watch this, light, brilliant, bright. And they translated white every time it shows up. So when it says white like wool, really they're saying his hair was brilliant. It was dazzling. This is what he saw. See, he saw what we know as the splendid body and not the body on earth. So that helps answer your question also. He saw the splendid body. That was the earthly body, and I do believe our earthly body will look like the body, the new bodies. No difference than our ruachs, what the scripture says about our ruach. It covers the entire body, hand to toe. No, I'm gonna go into it. 15.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
His feet, now we're getting an image of his feet like unto fine brass.
As if they burned in the furnace.
As if they burned in the furnace. So whoever wrote this, this definitely ain't the white, the European. And see, we can't quote this in the churches. We cannot quote this. And you see, I'm under the KJV. Whichever one is close to what's correct, that's what I will go with. The new KJV, they kind of put this out. They left out burned in the furnace. Refined. They put in refined. They did some little things here and there.
And his voice as the sound of many waters.
So let's look up brass. Because his feet, it's like fine brass. I pulled up old
brass
antique brass. And this is antique brass. This is the color of antique brass. You take this and burn it. Yep, that. You take this and you burn it. It is not coming out European white. This is the color. And we know they took Yahusha. The mother and the father, they fled right here to Egypt, letting us know they was not to go to Egypt. They could have quoted what was in the prophets. This is what our people doing today. Don't flee to Egypt. He told them to go into the land of Yasharal. They were coming out of captivity. And the Most High knew their heart. They were thinking about going to Egypt because they was tired of being kicked out of the land. And they was going to find strength and power in Egypt and not in the land of Yasharal. He told them, go to the land of Yasharal. Do not go down to Egypt. Our wicked people today, caught in the traps, pulling out. See, the Most High say, don't flee to Egypt. Don't flee to Egypt. And so they won't flee. They won't flee to Egypt. Matter of fact, then those people are not even fleeing at all. But he didn't tell them to go to Jordan, when he could have said flee to Jordan. Daniel 9 and 7, the Ancient of Days.
I watched till thrones were put in place, and the Ancient of Days was seated.
The Ancient of Days were seated.
His garment was white as snow.
All right, his garment white as snow.
And the hair of his head was like pure wool.
So we know the hair, like father, like son, the hair on his head was pure wool. We know this. Son, is this pure wool?
Not at all.
This isn't pure wool. So they messed up on the image, correct?
Correct.
They screwed up on this image. It's not pure wool. He said pure wool.
His throne was a fiery flame.
Fiery flame.
Its wheels a burning fire.
The Most High has fire to burn up whatever it is that he needs to burn up. This is what he will do. We ready for the next one?
I believe so.
Second Esdras, which one is this? 2
Yes, sir.
and 42 to 47?
Yes, sir.
42 through 47.
I, Ezra, saw on Mount Zion a great multitude, which I could not number, and they all were praising Yahuah with songs.
So he saw this multitude. They were praising the Most High with song.
In their midst was a young man of great stature,
In the midst was a young man of great stature.
taller than any of the others,
Huh?
and on the head of each of them he placed a crown.
And on the head of each of them he placed a crown.
But he was more exalted than they,
Hmm?
and I was held spellbound.
Hmm?
Then I asked an Malak, "Who are these, my master?"
Who are these, my master?
He answered and said to me, "These are they who have put off mortal clothing and have put on the immortal."
So they put off the mortal clothing and have put on immortal.
And they have confessed the name of Yahuah. Now they are being crowned and receive palms.
So these people are being crowned and receive palms.
Then I said to Malak, "Who is that young man who placed crowns on them and puts palms in their hands?"
So who was the young man? There was a young man who what happened? This information, you see people here of the past, people that had writings concerning Yahusha, what he looked like, and this is what we found here. All right.
Okay. The focus of many early sources was on the physical unattractiveness of Yahusha rather than his beauty.
Just like Isaiah said, there was a physical unattractiveness of Yahusha rather than his beauty. He wasn't to be behold. And shame on you if Yahusha revealed himself to you. If he come to you in the flesh and you see him, say, oh, and start talking about him and how he looks. Or, I hate to say this, some of our people, you know how some of our people are? They will be laughing at him. Laughing at him because of how he looked.
The 2nd century anti-Christian philosopher, originally nicknamed C, wrote that Yahusha was ugly and small.
Ugly and small. Most all of these people, most all of the historians, and let me tell you, they're gooey that's living on the earth today. They know how he looked. But they won't. Well, there's one lady. I found one lady last night. She broadcasted. They don't. This is a major teaching. They don't go into this. And they keep this hidden from the people. Ugly and small.
And similar descriptions are presented in a number of other sources, as discussed extensively by R, who in turn often quotes from E. Monumental C. T states that Yahusha's outward form was despised.
His outward form was despised.
That he had an ignoble appearance.
Ignoble. He was not noble. Yeah, he was ignoble. He was not something of... The kings were noble. He was not. He was ignoble.
And the slander he suffered proved the abject condition of his body.
So he looked the way he looked, and they slandered him because how he looked. They didn't want to have anything to do with him, our people and others, because of how he looked. Forget what he was saying. They was looking at how he looked.
According to I, he was a weak and unmajestic man.
He was weak. He was skinny. He was small. He was short. Unmajestic. Nothing majestic about him. You would say, this is no king. He's a king. This is him. This can't be him. What is this?
This your king?
Yeah, the Black Panthers. This your king? When he came up, he was saying, this is your king? He had him.
And in the Acts of Peter, he is described as small and ugly to the ignorant.
He was described as small and ugly to the ignorant. This is how he was described.
And this guy of Crete relates that he was bent or even crooked.
He was bent and or crooked. He didn't even walk up straight. Bent, crooked. See, he wasn't to behold. Shame on our people if they see the real Yahusha today. They wouldn't know who he is. So the Father said, give you a picture of Yahusha. Give them a picture of Yahusha, and that's what we're doing.
And the Acts of John, he's described as bald-headed and small with no good looks.
Bald-headed, small with no good looks. All right. There could have been a time maybe someone, I don't know, had brought this bald head out. But he listen, no good looks. They knew him to be short, not to be behold, nothing good looking in him. A woman would not want to marry him. He would be rejected. See, when we read rejected in the scripture, we think he rejected because what he's speaking, what he's saying. No, he does not have to open his mouth. All he has to do is set foot on the scene. You see, he go to any church in America, any camp, help this little man. Y'all help this little man. Get this little man. Find a seat for this little man. He coming up on the stage and taking over. Get this little man down from here. He gonna tell him, I'm the son of the Most High. Pharisees looked at him like, blasphemy. This is why they said you speak blasphemy.
As quoted by E, both H and, John of Damascus claimed that one of Yahshua, Josephus, described Yahusha as having had cone eyebrows with goodly eyes and being long-faced.
So he had a connate eyebrow. That's a unibrow. We call them unibrow. This is a picture. A unibrow. You know what a unibrow look like. Anyone see one with a unibrow? We'd be like, whoa, why don't you just cut it?
I had to cut mine.
It keep growing. It keeps growing. He had a unibrow, goodly eyes, and long face.
Crooked and well grown.
Crooked. Here we go with crooked again. So there are different ones saying he was crooked. He wasn't straight. There was crook in him. He was deformed, family. Yeah. Wait. Yep. Hold up. You're going ahead. Hold up. You're going ahead of us.
Okay. In the letter of certain bishops to this emperor, Yahusha's height is described